What happened to the last 10 Wonderkids that Real Madrid signed on huge contracts? Real Madrid is definitely out on the hunt for young players and is investing huge amounts of money into these deals. Some might see this as a good investment, as they have the chance to capture the next big names in their prime. But how's this panned out for the club so far? Let's look at the performances of 10 of these young talents that Madrid has signed in the past. We kick off the list with Eduardo Camavinga, who can be described as a very dynamic young midfielder with seemingly boundless energy. Throughout his stay with Real Madrid since joining in 2021, Camavinga has been at the top of the game, being a testament to constant growth. But initially, the player didn't see much playing time due to the presence of some other big names in the club. Even when the player finds himself out of position, which is often the case, he had a reputation for always delivering. At this point in his career, the player is starting to see a lot more playtime and is currently making that midfield position his. We watch to see if the player will like to stay with the club much longer, or if the longing for adventure will take him elsewhere to continue his exploits. Madrid's quest for young talents had also led them to sign Rodrigo in 2019 at the age of 18, and this definitely looks like they made the right decision with this one. Initially, we didn't see much of Rodrigo on the pitch when he joined the club newly, which was mainly due to the presence of older talents like Benzema and Hazard on the team. But as we moved to the 2021-22 season, the younger player had his own break into the spotlight. We saw him scoring in the Champions League and La Liga, giving him a total of 10 goals and 7 assists that season. At the moment, there seems to be no doubt that we're witnessing another football legend in the making, especially if he's able to keep up with his recent performance. In the 2022-23 season, Rodrigo scored against big clubs like Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, which shows that he's starting to build the confidence that will push him further into his career. In the current season, Rodrigo seems to be a lot more consistent, currently standing as the Real Madrid top scorer in La Liga with 9 goals. Real Madrid might just have struck gold with this one. Up next is Tchouaméni. Real Madrid didn't have much to deliberate on signing this player. His spectacular performance already spoke volumes on his capability, and things only got better from there. Tchouaméni's Champions League debut with Real Madrid was an embodiment of his masterful act on the pitch, scoring a crucial goal in the second leg of the quarterfinal against Chelsea. He continued to impress throughout the knockout stages, playing a vital role in Real Madrid's eventual Champions League victory. It's safe to say that the player has a special place in the hearts of Real Madrid fans, and since Casemiro left Madrid for United in 23, he's stepped up to fill the gap and has been performing spectacularly ever since. At least he's been able to justify the huge amount used to sign him. Real Madrid signed Aurélien Tchouaméni from AS Monaco for a transfer fee of $80 million, with another $20 million in potential add-ons, totaling a cost of $100 million, making him one of the most expensive signings in the club's history at the time. Now, moving to Vinicius Jr., the winger has been praised by many for constantly being in his upper trajectory since joining the club in 2018. This doesn't mean that the player hasn't had his bad moments, but he has been able to bounce back and improve himself on the field. In his early days, he faced some criticism for some opportunities missed during play and some of his defensive lapses. But judging the young man too harshly might not be right at this point, as he might still be battling the challenges of adapting to pressures that come with playing for a big club like Madrid. Fast forward to the 2021-22 season, Vinicius Jr. seems to have found his place in the club, becoming one of the major threats to the opponents on the pitch. By the end of that season, he had a record of 22 goals and 20 assists across all competitions that season. However, this season seems not to be a reflection of the past one, as he hasn't been able to replicate the success so far. I guess we'll have to wait and see if there will be change soon enough. Raphael Varane is another big name in the history books of Real Madrid, following his signing into the club in 2011 as a really young player at the age of only 18. Varane went ahead to have a really rapid growth within the club, earning himself a place in the first team by the age of 19. Though he currently plays for Manchester United, the player paid his dues with Madrid, helping the team win many titles during his 10 years stay within the club. His performance was quite remarkable and is a character that some other younger players in the club should look up to. He left the club in 22 and made his transition into Manchester United, where he continues his exploits. Casemiro was another youngster who found himself in Real Madrid in 2013, and he did have some difficulties fitting within the club initially. Coming from Sao Paulo in what was initially a loan, he later got signed fully into the club. Due to some performance issues, he had been loaned to FC Porto by Madrid and has been spectacular with performance ever since. He returned to Madrid and made his mark there, leaving a legacy with the club. He now plays for Manchester United alongside Varane. Now, not all the young players signed by Real Madrid have had spectacular performances. The guess is, you win some and you lose some. Takefusa Kubo is one of those players who didn't have a great time when with Madrid, but seem to have found their footing elsewhere. The crazy thing with this player is that he ended up not playing any game for Real Madrid before he made his move to Real Sociedad in 22. However, Real Madrid still maintains a buyback clause that they had with Sociedad, and so it seems that the player might still have his time at the club sometime in the future, though it doesn't look like Sociedad will be so pleased to lose one of their star players. The growth the player has had outside Real Madrid has been astonishing, but there's no telling if he'll be able to maintain the same energy if he ever returns to the club. However, Kubo isn't alone in having such a fate with Real Madrid, as some others seem to have found their form outside the club when they seem to have been a miscalculation for Real Madrid. This brings us to Martin Odegaard, who really wasn't of much use to the club when they signed him at the age of 16, making him one of the youngest players in the club that period. Odegaard currently plays for Arsenal and has even risen to the position of captain for the team. The story was quite different when he was with Real Madrid. He struggled to find his form in the club and didn't quite get many opportunities for growth because of the star-studded midfield in Madrid during that period. This resulted in the loan spell that soon followed. He did come back to Real Madrid in 2020 under Zidane, but still found himself at the back of the team. Due to the struggles he faced in the club, he got loaned to Arsenal in 21, where he now seems to have found his form. Speaking of people who have had hard times with Real Madrid, we can't forget to mention Reinier Jesus, who had found it really difficult to make it to the inner circle. On joining the team, he played mainly for Real Madrid Castilla in the Segunda Division B, where he impressed with his dribbling, creativity, and finishing ability. However, opportunities with the first team were limited to sporadic substitute appearances, making it difficult to fully assess his development. This resulted in loan spells, which we hoped would help him find himself. Now he's back with the team, we look forward to finding some improvements. Unlike others who had just fit right in, Jesus still needs to find a little room for self-discovery. Also, looking at some of the latest signings in the club, Arda Güler seems to fall into this category, though some might think it's still very much too early to judge the younger player, as he joined the club just a few months ago in August of 23. The problem is, Güler hasn't been able to make any appearances for the club since joining as a result of his injuries and can't be a good sign at this point. However, the player being off a rocky start might not define his future with the club. Hopefully he'll be able to get himself together and start to justify the 20 million euros that was paid for his transfer from Fenerbahce. So far, it seems that signing young players has served Real Madrid really fine, removing the fact that this will profit them financially, as opposed to going for already established players. It's also a good way to leave more opportunities for younger ones in the game. What do you think about this? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.